So we'll just briefly recall the 4 stages of surrendered presence. And the first stage is presence, feeling our own presence. So feeling your body and whatever may be happening in your body now. And then noticing your inner landscape, having just spent a good amount of time with your soul, but also noticing your thoughts and any images or subtle sensations that are arising. And then also becoming aware of the space around you, the land upon which you're situated. Recognizing that we are not just in this room, this circle, this space. We are in the world. And practicing in love of the world. And then feeling the world holding us. Feeling the way the earth is drawing us into itself. And seeing what it's like to be held. And seeing if we can allow ourselves to be held, to give ourselves over to holding. And then becoming aware of the breath. Watching as it draws breath into the body and then lets go. And just as the breath lets go, so our entire being can let go of whatever is between us and our own soul. So that all can fall away. And we can come to know our deepest self. We're going to enter now into an imaginal exercise. It is longish. Be aware that if you notice yourself wandering off or getting distracted, you may want to change positions. You may want to open your eyes and look around. You may want to stand or move. Do whatever is most helpful for you. So let's imagine that we are in a place that feels very welcoming and safe. And this may be a place that you've visited before. It may be a place that you know well, or it might be imaginary. It might be the ideal place that you dream of. What's important about the space is that you feel very safe there. So allow it to come completely into your mind, and then let yourself experience it. So feeling the temperature of the air, whatever smells or aromas are present. What can you see? What are the sounds that welcome you? And now in that space, experiencing your body in the place, feeling what your body is coming into contact with. So, as much as you're able to fully place yourself in this inner imaginary experience. So, in that space, you begin to sense that another being is entering the space, though you can't yet see them. There's just a sense of another being. But what you do know is that there's nothing at all to fear. You can already feel your heart leaning toward this being and leading towards this experience of whatever's coming next. And you can feel yourself interested in this arrival and curious. This being that is arriving does not yet have form or substance. This presence is pure soul. So I will describe the essence of this being to you. And take your time with each aspect, allowing the essence of the soul to arise so that you can experience it. So, what you first sense in this being is a here-ness. There is a depth of being fully and completely here in this moment. And at the same time, there's a profound openness. A sense of familiarity, and that the being is withholding nothing from you. It wants to be known by you. So remain aware of your own body and your own being as you experience this other being. Allow its beingness to flow towards you. And simply allow this presence to continue to make itself known to you, not through your mind. It's not going to explain itself to you. trust that this soul knows how to interact with your full being. Next, you sense a powerful aliveness emanating from the being, and it's got a lot of power, but it's not forceful. It does not overwhelm. So allow this aliveness to emanate from the being and encompass you. And see if you notice the same sense of aliveness arising in your own being. And then you notice a deep stillness at the heart of the being. There's a groundedness and immediacy. And this stillness is like a deep well, something that you can fall into that displaces the chatter of the mind. Let this stillness envelop you. Don't try to make yourself still. Allow stillness to arrive. And to trust that it's here. And then bringing your attention back to the soul being, you sense in it a deep acceptance, a complete acceptance of you. It doesn't seem to have an agenda. It's simply allowing everything to be as it is. Everything about you to be as it is. Notice what happens in your being as you sense this depth of acceptance and allowing. And at this point, the being begins to take on some sort of form. It's still quite nebulous, but you're starting to see color and movement. So pause a moment to be with the being as it begins to take form. What do you see? There might also be a sound or an aroma. So now a gentle yet intensely powerful strength is arising in the being. And it's the strength like we experience in a giant sequoia tree that reaches its roots deeply down into the earth and at the same time stretches its branches high up into the sky. It's a strength that does not demand, push, or expect. It is a strength that is deeply rooted and yet flexible and dynamic. Out of this rooted strength, a sense of will arises, a sense of knowing what needs to be done, what should be done. It knows its direction, it knows its true north. It also does not force or withhold. This will flows. It flows around obstacles or difficulties. It flows always in the direction of love. What does this strength and will feel like in your own body, in your own being? While strength and will are present, there's also an amazing lightness in this being. You experience a welling up of happiness and joy, even laughter spilling over. So, pausing here again to see what form the being might be taking. Now we can see outlines and contours of the being. What does it remind you of? So out of the joy and lightness of the presence arises a great spaciousness. There's no constriction or limit in this presence. It includes all things. It contains all possibility. You feel the being turn its full awareness toward you now. It begins to take you in, to notice you deeply. It sees you as the unique and individual soul that you are. And it views you as being of great worth, just as you are. And at the same time, you sense that it accepts all things and all beings as treasures. You and all creation beyond price. Now you begin to sense that the being has an infinite capacity to simply be with whatever is present, to be with great pain, to be with deep grief and constant sorrow. This being is intimately connected with the deep ache at the heart of the world. And what arises from that is a great compassion, a great love for all that suffer. And finally, what arises in the being is truth. This being knows. And it's not an intellectual or factual knowing. It's able to contact and apprehend what is true in its own being. It knows itself. It trusts itself. And as a result of this knowing, it's able to allow love to be its guide. And now invite this presence to take on a complete form. It can be any type of being. There's no need for it to be human or gendered. I'll remind you of all the essences of this being: presence, allowing, will, strength, joy, curiosity, compassion, value, truth, sorrow. The being that has come into form in this practice is your soul. And this is not an imaginary or an idealized self. Everything that we have experienced here is already true of our souls. We don't attain this, it's already here. This is how we have been made. We have been made in the image of love. Take a moment to recall that your soul has, in its fully realized form, has always been a part of you. Take in the truth of the fact that you can live from this part of your being. And if you feel able and ready, invite the image of your soul that you can now fully see and experience to enter your being, to become one with you, fully accepting that it is you. So I invite you to gently re enter our space, but not leaving behind this truth of yourself. As much as we each are able, bringing our soul fully into our space as we continue together.